Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Malaysia Carter.
And my name is Johnny Bryant Jr., and we are your host and hostess for this evening. We are so excited that you've chosen to join us tonight, and you are in for some pretty amazing presentations and performances.
We invite you to please relax, unwind, and enjoy as we celebrate Black history by honoring the past, recognizing the present, and inspiring the future.
Before we dive into an impressive lineup tonight, let's have a little mental yoga session. We all know what that is, right?
Okay, to be honest, we don't either. But this is the part of the program where we make you feel welcome and relaxed. So, in a sense, mental yoga. So for your first session of mental yoga, we're going to call in some experts to help you feel a little more welcome to our great school and to break the atmosphere. So please join us in welcoming to the stage Assistant Principals Allison Fisher and Clifford Williams, and the student chair of this wonderful event, Athena Thomas.
Good evening. All right, we're ready tonight. Thank you for joining us for our annual Black History celebration. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge and welcome our distinguished guests joining us this evening. Dr. Edwards, Superintendent. Mr. Adam, Building Principal. Our Board of Education members, and of course, our inspirational Trailblazer nominees and their families that came out to support. Tonight, we are here to celebrate Black history and culture along with honoring are often forgotten local superheroes. That's the key word, superheroes. Who would have thought that in 2018 we would have a movie in the theaters starring a black superhero and shattering box office records left and right? I think y'all know where we're going with this. This movie has made over $426 million and has topped the lifetime gross of Marvel, DC, and X-Men movies. This monumental movie has not only a predominantly black cast, but is directed by Ryan Coogler, an award-winning African-American director.
As Rolling Stone said in a recent article, an entire generation of children will now know that a black superhero, society, imagination, and power can exist right alongside Peter Parker, Steve Rogers, and Bruce Wayne. The superheroes that we are recognizing tonight may not have movies made about them yet, but have the same enduring qualities as the King of Wakanda, T'Challa, and are inspiring our future generations of students. The Black Panther movie is not just about fighting crime, but about inspiring change and hope all over the world, just as the high school students and Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School are working to do in Florida as they now find themselves working on a national stage. There is no doubt that students are the face of the future. And as tonight's theme is honoring the past and inspiring the future, we are lucky to have a dynamic group of students with us tonight that have been an integral part of planning this celebration and will be leading us in recognizing and celebrating our own local superheroes this evening. You will see our students taking the reins and leading us throughout this wonderful celebration tonight.
At this time, please let's take a moment of silence to remember those lost in Florida, as well as the many lives lost in the fight for human rights. The Black Panther movie not only shows our generation that anything is possible, but also teaches us life lessons that we can use as our inspiration. T'Challa, King of Wakanda, said, "In times of crisis, the wise build bridges, while the foolish build barriers. We must find a way to look after one another as if we are one single tribe." Tonight, LHS is coming together to celebrate, remember, and honor our local superheroes as one tribe.
How was that? How are you feeling? Relaxed? Welcome? Let's be real though. If that jazz band and that food didn't, calm you down, then I don't know what will. Seriously, that was a warm welcome. Thank you, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Williams, and Athena.
So can we give them one more round of applause, please? That was beautiful. Tonight, we have a lineup of great presentations, performances, and tributes. And without further delay, please join us in our first of many great performances as we present the Lawrence High School Wind Ensemble under the direction of Mrs. Maggie McGill with a guest conductor, Terrence O'Donkor, as they perform My Lord, What a Morning. you so much to our wind ensemble. That was absolutely amazing. I know you all felt a little jazzy vibes. And a special shout out again to Terrence O'Donkor. Look at how amazing our students can be.
So we know we asked you to unwind, relax earlier, but now we need a little help. So please put your hands together and welcome Zelina Canones to the stage for a special presentation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Zulima Quinones, and tonight I stand on behalf of Lawrence High School Black History Celebration Student Planning Committee. To present tonight's first Trailblazer Award, I am beyond honored to have the opportunity to present this special individual, who is no stranger to our family here at Lawrence High, nor this community. She has worked tirelessly and passionately educating many students for the past 27 years. She has so generously shared with us her love for art, devotion for education, and wisdom with each of her students and many colleagues alike. That is why tonight we would like to honor this individual in the only way we could ever imagine, Miss Sabri. This is our special thank you for all that you've done for us. You've left a little part of yourself in each of us here, and now and forever, we would love for you to have a piece of us. You have touched the lives of many of us here, and including myself. And I know you will continue to do that wherever life may take you. Your presence here is dearly missed, and you deserve all the happiness that retirement may bring to you. You are indeed a true trailblazer who has paved the way for so many of us to follow into your footsteps. Once again, thank you for everything you've done. If you could all please join me in welcoming Miss Khalila Sabri with a big round of applause as she makes her way to the stage. But wait, that's not all, Miss Sabri. We have something else special. One of your former students, Ryan Stevens, has made a self-made portrait for you. Ryan? Do you want us to give it to you later?
Okay, you'll give it to me later, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Contrary to many beliefs, black art has been among us for centuries.
From pre-recorded times to Don Bush, powder horn of the 18th century to small drums, elaborate quilts, wrought iron figures, keramic vessels, and many other works of art, black art has always represented culture and a deeper symbolic meaning.
There are no beating drums nor beautiful quilts tonight, but there is symbolic expression through art forms. Enjoy as Zachary Sherrard and several LHS students present Celebrations Meets Mourning.
Orlando Castile.
Sandra Bland. Walter Scott.
Akai Gurley.
Eric Garner.
Yvette Smith.
Shelley Frey. Denisha Harris.
Laquan McDonald.
Tamia Ray.
Alton Sterling. Desmond Phillips. Chad Robertson. Rodney S.
Tanisha Anderson. Oscar Grant.
Alteria Woods.
Terrence Crutcher.
Michael Brown. Kia Boyd. Freddie Gregg.
We celebrate the rich past, culture, and heritage of Black Americans tonight. In all of our celebrating, we are reminded that there is yet work to be done. We must never forget our roots. Instead, we must continue to work while it is day to pave the way for those that will follow in our footsteps. We celebrate tonight, but we also mourn. We mourn due to injustices that run rampant through our American legal system. At times, justice appears to be just us. Tonight, we celebrate the great accomplishments and feats of many great Black Americans, but we acknowledge and celebrate the lives of those taken from us by the ugly hand of racism. Tonight, we celebrate, we mourn, we remember.
Thank you to Zach and the others. That was a very powerful reminder that for every advancement made, there is still more work to be completed. So please join us in welcoming Love Chavez for a special presentation.
Good evening. I am Love Chavez. It's nice to meet everyone. Our next honoree knows all about setting records. In fact, he still holds the Trenton Central High School's record for the most rebounds in a single season, with the outstanding number of 333 rebounds. Reflecting upon this incredible accomplishment, we see the character and ability of someone who strives to give his best to achieve greatness and giving his best in exactly what Mr. Arzaga Dillard has managed to do as a former student athlete, retired educator, and program director of Every Child Value After School program. Giving his best has always allowed Mr. Dillard to be successful and pave the way for the success of others. Tonight, we have decided to honor and recognize Mr. Arzaga Dillard as a 2018 Trailblazer Award recipient. Thank you for your service and dedication to our school systems and community. Please join me in congratulating and welcome to the stage Mr. Arzaga Dillard.
Just want you guys to know I don't play basketball anymore. I do play golf, though. Thank God for His mercy and His grace. I just want to begin by saying that I'm truly humbled and blessed to be a part of this incredible Black History celebration. Thanks to Ms. Jametta Clark and the Lawrence High School Black History Program Committee for this prestigious honor. Congratulations to all the other honorees on being celebrated tonight. Thanks also to Principal Dave Adam and his staff, Superintendent Dr. Crystal Edwards, and the Lawrence Township Board of Education for the many years of support of the Every Child Valued After School program. I am grateful to Fred Vereen Jr., who was the founder of Every Child Valued, for giving me the opportunity to lead our after-school program for the past 14 years. I'm very proud of the work that we have done and continue to do in the Eggers Crossing Village community and Lawrence as a whole. I'm also very proud to be the president of the Marco Dillard Scholarship Fund. Marco Dillard was my brother and my mentor growing up in Trenton back in the day. He passed away on February 24th, 2009. Now tomorrow is February 24th, 2018, so that's 9 years to the day tomorrow that I lost my brother to cancer. In his honor, we started this scholarship fund, and we provide $3,000 in scholarship every year at Trenton Central High School for graduating student athletes. To the students here in attendance, life is your toughest test to come. Prepare now and you will pass. Believe in yourself and do the work. And that's capital W, capital O, capital R, capital K. When you become successful, never forget those that paved the way. Education is your greatest weapon that you can ever have. Embrace it. What God has for you is truly, truly is for you. Last but not least, I'd like to thank my family. I have 2 children, 2 grown children. My son lives in Maryland. My daughter is about 2 miles from my house, so we're babysitters all the time. Daughter has 2 children. My son has 4, so we have 6 grandchildren. And I want to thank my lovely wife of 33 years, Emma Johnson Dillard, right here. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Mr. Dillard. We are grateful and honored to have you in our presence tonight.
As our very own special way of saying thank you, we present a stirring choral performance by Ensemble and Madrigal Choirs under the direction of Mrs. Mandy Johnson. They'll be performing Witness by famous blast composer Moses Hogan. We hope you enjoy.
Before we honor our next honoree, we would like to call up Miss Sabree.
Well, they called me back because you guys got me this time, and you know you don't get me too often. And first thing I like to say is I miss you guys so much. I do. Every day. And no. And Mr. Zuckerman, I miss that phone call for the snow day. It took me about a week to accept this offer of being honored as a trailblazer because I feel like, I'm just a teacher. I'm not a trailblazer. I'm no Harriet Tubman, no Maya Angelou, just a person with a passion for teaching. When I was in school, we had a substitute who taught us the preamble of the Constitution, and it rings in my mind today, those first words, we the people of the United States. And that just keeps coming back to me, and I need to reiterate that to you students tonight, is that we the people of these United States, we make it what it is. And it's you guys who will continue that legacy. And I want you to represent Lawrence High School and the wonderful teachers that you have. You have great teachers here. Every day we stand before you to give you the information and the knowledge that you need to lead this nation in a positive direction. And I want you to do that. Do that for Ms. Sabree. Do that for Mr. Adams. Do it for Mr. Williams. Do it for all of your teachers. All those history lessons that you learn in class, they apply today. We're living in a teaching moment. Teachers are so very important. Listen to what they're teaching you and apply it to your life. So important. And I accept this award not just for me, but for every teacher in this room, every teacher that I've ever had, every teacher that your children will have. Stand up for this country and do what's right. That's all that Ms. Sabree need to come back and say. All right?
Good evening. I'm Dominique Smith.
And I'm Madison Miller.
People are often blessed with gifts, talents, and abilities beyond measures. Sadly, many people choose to shelter them out of because of selfishness, anxiety, stress, or perhaps uncertainty, but not our next Trailblazer Award recipient. Miss Adrienne King is known in this community and those beyond because she has chosen to use her gifts and talents and abilities to help others.
Whether during the day as a litigation adjuster for New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group or after hours, when she puts on her Superwoman cape as a leader in a number of community and educational service organizations, Mrs. King has given most of her life for the betterment of others. Because of her unselfishness and monumental impact in our school community and those surrounding, we are pleased to honor Miss Adrienne King as Trailblazer Award recipient. I personally know this extraordinary woman through an organization known as NAU Debutantes, which teaches young ladies to strive to be better every day. And when you know someone that's grounded, focused, and determined in wanting to better you, I can't help but be grateful to know someone like her. Please join us in welcoming her to the stage.
Let me first say thank you to both of these young ladies for such a warm welcome. And although one of them are my debutantes, I whispered in the other's ear, why aren't you one of my debutantes? Good evening, everyone. To my fellow honorees, Jametta Clark, the real trailblazer, her staff, Lawrence Township High School teachers, administration, students, elected officials, dignitaries gathered here this evening, I am truly honored to have been selected as one of the 2018 Trailblazer Award recipients. My family and friends would say I can be long-winded, so I promise to be brief. As I accept this honor on today during Black History Month, I thought of our youth saying, "Stay woke," and a song many of you are familiar with by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, "Wake Up Everybody." And since I can't sing, I'll just stick to my speech. The words history and Mark stood out for me as I was preparing what to say this evening. And whether you know it or not, we all play a part in history in some way, shape, or form. But the question is, what mark will you leave? We all have at least one mark on our bodies, whether it be our birthmark, a scar from falling down when you were playing as a kid, as a teenager involved in a scuffle, or maybe even as an athlete playing your favorite sport. However, the mark you got then, I'm sure every now and then, you reminisce about how it got there. Well, that's how we should think about the life we live now and the impact we have in this world. Those marks you got from having fun, life adversities, playing hard, and making choices should be similar to the impressions you want to leave behind and reflect on as students, teachers, administrators, parents, business owners, or even as a politician. So as you continue to have an impact on the world, let your mark go down in history by being of service to our youth. Work hard and excel academically, but remember to come and give back after you graduate. To our politicians and our educators, continue to serve, knowing your choices impact our future and how we govern ourselves. To the clergy, continue to preach the unadulterated gospel to help us discern what is right and wrong. And to the rest of us adults, let us stay woke and focused on what we can do to make a difference in this world and in someone's life. Who I am and all that God allows me to do in the community is because of the village He has blessed me with, and many of them are here with me this evening. For many of you, you probably know the show 3 Men and a Baby. Well, for me, it's 3 men and a lady. And the 3 men that are dear to my heart and are here with me this evening, my husband, my son, and my dad, if they could stand. Along with the other members of my family that are here this evening. One of the organizations I'm a part of, Divinely Inspired Vessels Advocating Success, known as Divas. To the members of my sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And the rest of my family and friends that are here, if you all could stand. I thank you all. I thank you all for believing in me, continuously joining with me and supporting my vision to mentor our youth, empower my peers, and elevate our elders. Again, I just want to congratulate my fellow honorees and thank you for this honor. Before I take my seat, if Ms. Jametta could please come to the podium. Sorry, I know I probably caught her off guard. You can come on her behalf. I hear feet. I hear some footsteps. I'm totally catching her off guard. And I don't want you to turn back up the lights, but on behalf of my family and my friends, we stand here with you today, and I just want to present to you a donation to assist you with all the hard work that you continuously do to be of service in the community and to the students here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. King, for your undying loyalty to various communities. Your work through your own organizations and with Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated is greatly appreciated. As a matter of fact, can we please give all the lovely ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority some love, please? Thank you, ladies, for your hard work and dedication to so many great causes. You've made an indelible mark on many of our lives.
Mrs. King, do you still step? Do you still step? You can? Well, no worries, because tonight we have a special group and amazing ladies here to do it for you. Let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we? Please join us in welcoming the Rays of Hope Step team to the stage under the direction of Miss Denisha Daniels.
Everyone in the world has gone to bed one night or another with fear or pain or loss or disappointment. And yet each of us has awakened and risen, somehow made our ablution, seen other human beings, and said, "Morning, how are you? Fine things in you." It's amazing. Wherever that abides in the human being, there is the nobleness of the human spirit. Despite it all, black and white, Asian, Spanish, Native American, pretty, plain, thin, fat, vowed or celibate, we rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise.
little girls just killed it. They're in middle school. Let's give them one more round of applause, I know y'all felt that because I really felt that in my spirit, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, we have more in store for you for the night, and we begin with the introduction of our anxiously awaited and highly sought after keynote for this evening. Please join me in welcoming Alex Wilson to the stage.
Wow, that was incredible. That was absolutely incredible. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alexander Wilson, and it is my pleasure to introduce the keynote for this evening. Reverend Teddy R. Reeves is a curatorial museum specialist of religion in the Center for the Study of African American Religious Life at the Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. It's quite a mouthful. Reverend Reeves has served in a number of leadership capacities and is currently an education administration doctoral candidate. A formal English teacher, Reverend Reeves has dedicated his life to aiding in academic preparation of others, as well as exposing many to God-given inspiration. While so many others wish for greatness, Reverend Reeves takes greatness into his own hands by affecting the lives of everyone around him. His actions speak the message. When the story is told, which side of history will you be on? Please give a round of applause as we welcome Reverend Teddy R. Reeves to the stage.
Can we give him another round of applause? Alex made me sound more important than I am. So I had so many flashbacks sitting here. As a former high school English teacher, remember as I see Jametta and principals and assistant principals walking around, part of me is like, oh, I missed this. The other part of me is like, no, you don't, Teddy, no, you don't. But in all seriousness, to all the young people that have participated this evening, it is phenomenal. You really, really realize the work that educators put into ensuring that our young people are prepared for the world that's ahead of them. So to the administrators, to the faculty, to the staff, and also to the young people, this has been a phenomenal evening. So congratulations to you for the job well done. I also want to thank Jametta or Miss Clark to the students for the invitation. I am really, really honored. Now, I am a preacher, but I am not going to be before you long. I know it's 7:57, okay? But I am going to need you to talk back to me, all right? Y'all don't hear me. I need you to talk back to me, okay? All right. Now, in order to talk back to me tonight in a untraditional way, I need you to have your phones or your watches, because I'm going to ask you quite often what time it is. So I want you to yell out the time when I ask you that question, okay? So what time is it? All right. Y'all are, see, thank God for young people. They are ready. All right. Again, thank you so much for the opportunity. I want to speak briefly from the topic, what time is it? It's time to curate your narrative. So, Miss Clark, what time is it? Thank you. See, she's paying attention. Y'all got to be ready. I might call you out. I know many of you in the audience. All right, the time now is 7:58, and as I continue to speak, I am literally standing betwixt and between my past, my present, and my future. If a scribe were to be documenting my day on Friday, February 23rd, 2018, she would already recorded that Teddy Roshan Reeves began his day with his alarm clock going off originally at 5:30 a.m. But his inability to peel himself off the bed caused him to press snooze twice and reset the alarm clock 3 times. Y'all have been there before, amen? Yeah. I'm there quite often, but I was there again today. The scribe would have gone on to document that Teddy tightened up his speech around 2 p.m. today and drove to Quaker Bridge Mall, arriving around 2:30 p.m. I have a shopping habit. Pray for me, okay? From Quaker Bridge Mall, Teddy grabbed a quick bite of eat at Whole Foods and drove himself back to his residency at Trenton to get dressed for the evening program at Lawrence High. Teddy left the house at 5:50 p.m. and was driven to Lawrenceville High School. Upon his arrival at Lawrenceville High School, Teddy was greeted by several students. The scribe would go on to say that Teddy was introduced at the podium at 7:55 p.m. by Alex Wilson and stood up to speak at 8 p.m. At this very second, the scribe would be transcribing the words currently reverberating out of my mouth, which now at, what time is it? Which now is a past experience. At 8 p.m., I have literally lived through and bore witness to more than 9 hours of my past on February 23rd, 2018, currently living through my present and anticipating my future. I anticipate in my future that I will have shared anywhere between 720 to 900 seconds or 180 to 240 breaths with you once I have completed this speech. At this very second, and ever since I've walked through the doors this evening, you have witnessed experiences of my life that are now etched into my past and have shared in breaths never to be regained again on my journey to a place where time stands still. At this very moment, every person in this room is experiencing parts of your neighbor's history that persons outside of this room are missing. We have experienced one another's past. We are witnessing one another's presence and waiting in anticipation for one another's future. What time is it? 8:01. At 8:01, I want to speak again from the topic, what time is it? It is time to curate your own narrative. There are two questions I would like to pose to you right now, and I ask that you think about them through the remainder of my speech. The first question, every millisecond, every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year, you are edging closer to the realm of eternal time. Are you using your time and breath wisely, constructively, and unto your God-given purpose? The second question, and the most important question, I believe, are you using your time to curate your narrative and tell your truths? During my 4-year tenure at Parkland High School in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, a North Carolinian country boy, that's where I went to high school, I calculated that I spent about 6,000 hours or more than 750 days on or around campus and shared anywhere between 26 and 20 million breaths with friends and foes. At that time, if you were to ask me if I was being responsible with my time, I would have probably responded joyfully, of course. I was overly active on campus. I was SGA president. I was over the community service committee. I was newspaper editor. I was homecoming king, prom king, baseball player. I did it all. So if you would ask me if I had spent my time wisely, I would have said, of course. Similar to me, if I were to survey the students in this room to see if you were using your time wisely, or faculty, staff, parents, or honorees, if you would reflect back on your college time or your high school time to ask you if you had used your time wisely, many of us would have the same answers. What time is it? 8:03. Y'all dull on me. Say it again. 8:03. All right. At 8:03 p.m., many of us, if we're honest with ourselves, do not use our time or our breaths accordingly. We have all heard that time is the most valuable thing that we misuse as humans. We get 24 hours in a day, but what I believe we rarely examine is how many breaths we dissipate in a day. I mean, on average, a human being takes anywhere between 12 and 16 breaths a minute, 17,000 to 23,000 breaths per day. And if we're blessed to live to 80, we average about 672,768,000 breaths in a lifetime. What if we lived our lives according to breath and not time? What would happen if we started to regulate our time, our space, and environments that we enter around the precious gift of breathing? Who would you entertain? Would you be more cautious about whom you shared intimate space with? Would any of your past experiences be different? How would you position yourself to shape the future each and every time we interact with people or engage in activities, whether productive or unproductive? We are losing breaths. Time, yes, but we are losing the gift of breathing. This year, we're commemorating the 50th anniversary of the assassination of civil rights activist, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I'm going to take a parenthetical pause here because he would kill me. My director, Dr. Lonnie Bunch, did want me to send you his greetings on behalf of the museum. So I didn't do that if somebody's recording, so that it will be seen that I did do that. Amen? All right. Y'all are my witness. What time is it? 8:05. So at 8:05, I told you that Lonnie told me to tell y'all hello, okay? Keep that documented. Again, this year we're commemorating the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was gunned down at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee on April 4th, 1968. On April 3rd, 1968, the night before his death, Dr. King delivered his final sermon at the historic Mason Temple Church of God in Christ in Memphis, Tennessee. In his sermon entitled, "I've Been to the Mountaintop," King was speaking against the years of unfair wages, unsafe working conditions, and overall injustices faced by African American sanitation workers in Memphis. Some of the most prophetic words uttered by Dr. King were stated that evening when King assured African Americans that he had seen the promised land, a time of justice and equality in America. King so eloquently stated, "Like anybody else," and I quote, "like anyone, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place, but I'm not concerned about now." The Reverend Mr. King said that evening, "I've seen the promised land, and I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land." Unbeknownst to King, he would die less than 20,000 breaths later. Dr. King, a young 39-year-old black man, dared to use his approximately 327,405,000 breaths to create a realm of possibilities, not only for African Americans, but for Americans in general. What time is it? 8:07. At 8:07, are you using your breaths for the purpose that you've been called to use them? Are you using your breaths for purpose, or are you using your breaths for pain? When the historians recount your history, students, can they say on February 23rd, 2018, what time is it? 8:07. Still 8:07. February 23rd, 2018 at 8:07, that you were using your breaths to speak life, to speak encouragement or uplift to your classmates, to your friend, to your coworker, to significant others? Are you using your breath to speak out against injustices that threaten to marginalize and oppress persons due to their race, due to their gender, due to their religion, their economic status, due to their sexual orientation, their immigration status, or any other preconceived or perceived deficit? Are you using the breath that you have to fight for those who cannot fight for themselves? Would you continue to live not fulfilling your ordained purpose, knowing that you only have 2,200 breaths left? Would you waste time mulling over your past if you knew that you only had 150 breaths left? Would you continue to hold resentment, continue to be bitter, or continue to be silent in the face of injustice and racism if you knew that you only had 32 breaths left? What would you do, or what are you doing with the time that you have left? Author C. Joy Bell states, when I breathe in, I am breathing in the laughter, the tears, the victories, the passions, the thoughts, the memories, the existence, the joys, the moments, and the hues of the sunlight on many tones of skin. I am breathing in the same air that was exhaled by many before me, the air that bore them life. My last question to you I pose was, are you using your breath, the breaths that you have left, to curate your narrative and to tell your truth? The time now is, what time is it? 8:09. The time now is 8:09, and we've spent about an hour with each other at this program. I anticipate we have each used about 1,000 or so breaths of our unknown total. We cannot change our past. We cannot change what happened when we walked in this door around 5 or 6 p.m. or from that time that I was introduced by Alex. But what we can shape is our current in anticipation for what's to come when we walk out of this place. In her 2004 speech to the graduate class at Wellesley College in Wellesley, Massachusetts, Nobel laureate and Pulitzer Prize-winning author of classic novels such as The Bluest Eye, Song of Solomon, and Beloved, and Professor Emeritus at Princeton University, Toni Morrison, delivered one of the most well-regarded commencement address to date entitled, Be Your Own Story. In the speech, Morrison compels the women's college graduates to interrogate their past, to interrogate their future, and to interrogate their present. Morrison, an African-American woman reared in the belly of the Great Depression of the 1930s in Loren, Ohio, knew all too well the importance of curating one's narrative. Earning her BA in English from the historically black institution Howard University and her master's degree from Cornell University, Morrison transcended the expectations placed upon her by a dominant culture that relegated her sun-kissed black skin as a curse to be demoralized, marginalized, and silenced. At the conclusion of her speech to the women at Wellesley, Morrison eloquently proceeds to send the women forth when she tells them, and I quote, "You are your own stories, and therefore free to imagine and experience what it means to be human without wealth. What it feels like to be human without domination over others, without reckless arrogance, without fear of others unlike you, without rotating, rehearsing, or reinventing the hatred you learned in the sandbox. And although you don't have complete control over the narrative, no author does, she says, I can tell you, you could nevertheless create it." Morrison goes on to say, although you will never fully know or successfully manipulate the characters who surface or disrupt your plot, you can respect the ones who do by paying them close attention and doing them justice. The theme you choose may change or simply elude you, but being your own story means you always get to choose the tone. It also means that you can invent the language to say who you are and what you mean. Students, I'm afraid that today many of us are drowning in a cesspool of contrived narratives. In our attempt to mirror our narratives after the dominant narratives around us, we have given control of our stories over to fickle trends. Snapchat, Instagram, and I love social media. You students, y'all can look me up on social media. Now, I don't have Snapchat because I don't understand it, but I am on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. But Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, television, film, YouTube, we are inundated with narratives of how we should look, what we should wear, what we should eat, what causes we should be concerned with. This is the life we live. However, I have come to realize that we are losing the ability to curate our own narratives, to tell our own stories. You have the right to write your own story. Students, right now, as Morrison states, you don't have to completely control the narrative. You don't have complete control over your narrative. You can, nevertheless, create your narrative. 23-year-old Chicago-based hip-hop artist Chance the Rapper continues to defy music industry standards by refusing to follow the norm and signing with a major record company. How many of you heard of Chance? So because I can't see anything, I can't do a demographic check of how many of you the demographic of the generation that clapped their hands. So if you heard a chance, clap again. Chance I am an avid Chance fan. He brings all the black boy joy that I need when I see him on TV and laughing. But 23-year-old Chicago-based hip-hop artist Chance the Rapper continues to defy the standards by refusing to follow the norms and signing with a major record company. Last year, he desired to write his own story, which led him to be the first Grammy winner, the first Grammy-nominated artist to have an online streaming record. Chance said, when asked, why have you not signed with the record company? Why are you not following the norm? He says, I have a lot of advice from people in the industry who wouldn't give me that same advice today. It's not even that they have any ill will towards me because I don't take their advice at times. They're almost like, keep going. You're in uncharted territory. You're helping to shed light on what the future of the business will look like, and we are curious. Do you see what happens when you refuse to allow people to construct your narrative, to chart your course, to dictate your movement, to dictate your actions, to dictate your story? Chance is going through uncharted territory, and it's scary for many. Your assistant principal got to my next example, but I'm going to say it anyway. In the film released this past week, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. You have to. How many of you have seen Black Panther? I went to Wakanda last Sunday and got back around evening time. If you have not been to Wakanda, I strongly suggest you get you a flight, you put on you some garb. I went full Black Panther garb. Like, go out for it and go enjoy it. But this movie, I just don't know. Another parenthetical pause really quick. So part of our work at the museum, if you're familiar with museum life, is to tell the African-American story, tell the American story through an African-American lens. And so we do a lot of work around collecting artifacts that are not only telling a national story, but also connect to local stories. And so having some of the things, comic books and things in the museums with holdings. And when the film came out, I was just over the moon. So if you have not seen that film, go see the film. How many of you have been to the museum? So we need to work something out with the administrators for the students to come to the museum, all right? Now, you have me saying that, so pull me to the side afterwards, all right? So in the film released this past week, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, the fictitious African country of Wakanda was believed to be a desolate farm country with limited resources. For many years, the rulers and the people of Wakanda allowed this narrative to become pervasive in hopes of protecting, and I'm not giving away the plot, protecting their vibranium and their culture. It was through several different circumstances, and trust me, I'm not giving you everything, all right, that they would come to realize that they were responsible for controlling their country's narrative. And more importantly, that what they had to offer, their technology and their resources, could change the trajectory of mankind. The kingdom of Wakanda realized that it was time to tell its country's truth. Media mogul Oprah Winfrey is the queen of curating one's narrative and telling one's truth. After becoming the first African-American woman to accept the prestigious Cecil D. DeMoy Award at the Golden Globes this year, Oprah had one message for the world, and particularly for women in light of the Me Too movement. Tell your story, because you too can make a difference. What I know for sure is that speaking your truth is the most powerful tool we all have. What time is it? 8:19. The time now is 8:19, and it's time for you to make sure that you are using your breaths and using the breath you have left constructively, wisely, and unto purpose. It's time for you to use your limited breaths to curate your own story, young people, to tell your own truths. not allowing situations or circumstances or fears or anxieties to render you silent. What time is it? 8:19. Still 8:19. It's time for us to honor our past, but to look toward the future. It's time for us to not be beholden to our past mistakes, our hurts, our tragedies, our fears, our failures, and our shortcomings. It's time out for us allowing our dreams to die with our breaths. It's time for us to start loving our neighbors as ourselves. It's time for us to stop living by excuses and start living on purpose. It's time for us to stop sharing intimate breath with people who only misuse our precious time and have no way of breathing fresh life back into us. It's time for us to stop turning a blind eye to patriarchal systems that hinder women's upward mobility or silence their voices. It's time for us to stop standing idly by as systems of oppression continue to swallow up minority persons throughout this country and abroad. It's time for you to take your stories back, construct your own narrative, your own vision, your own purpose. If someone else possesses your narrative, if you've given someone else enough power to control your narrative, it's time for you to take your story back. If your friends are constructing your narrative, if your acquaintances are constructing your narrative, if your job or your boss is constructing your narrative, it's time to take your story back. It's time for you to use your breaths wisely. Martin Luther King led a movement with his breaths. Harriet Tubman freed hundreds with her breaths. Sojourner Truth exclaimed, "Ain't I a woman?" with her breaths. Alicia Garzell, Patrice Colliers, and Opal Tometi set the country on fire with their breaths with the hashtag that sparked a movement, Black Lives Matter. Eric Garner died with 370,022,400 disseminated breaths. And at the last moments of his life, he was asking for more. What are you doing with the time you have left? It's not to be morbid. It's not to bring doom. But it's really as young people in high school and middle school, we anticipating you having millions of breaths left in you. But what are you doing each and every day to make it count? What are you doing to impact justice to the marginalized and oppressed? What are you doing when folks are getting bullied each and every day? What are you doing when your friends are constructing narratives around people because they are different? Does your life have an impact? Is your life on a trajectory of changing the world? I could go down a list, and I have a bunch of them, but I'm not. I could go down a list and name all of the African American persons who have changed the trajectory of this country, who have changed the trajectory for all of us. Ruby Bridges, Malcolm X. I could keep going. They all knew, Dr. King, Fannie Lou Hamer, they all knew that time was limited. They all knew that life was not promised. But they knew they had work to do. So I leave you with this, students, and I leave you with this, Lawrenceville. The scribe is writing the story of your life. What time is it? 8:23. It's 8:23. The scribe is writing your life. My question simply is, what are you planning to do with the few breaths you have left? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Reeves, for your kind and inspiring words. Can we give him one more round of applause, please? Okay, everyone, we're not done just yet. If you've enjoyed the celebration so far, there's much more before we end tonight. One of our newest additions to clubs at LHS, we would like to welcome them to you tonight. Our very own LHS dance team to the stage as they present the rhythms of Black history under the direction of Ms. Natasha Whitaker. One more shout out to our dance team. That was amazing, guys. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere yet. We have one more honoree and one last special performance. To introduce them both, please join me in welcoming Akene Watako and Devon Parker.
Our last but not least Trailblazer Award recipient is no stranger to Lawrence High School. For the past 5 years, he has worked patiently and diligently to help groom talents and sound of our LHS gospel choir. In addition, he has soothed our ears with beautiful music and an array of events.
Mr. Richard Carter's life in music and ultimate success is important to those, y'all, this is doing it again. To those of us who seek to follow the path he is blazing for us. Oh, Jesus. Age wasn't a factor in his path to musical success, but it was the sheer talent and dedication of those who know. Okay, I'm gonna go off of this real quick. Okay, because Mr. Carter has really helped me in my music. Of those who don't know, I do sing a little bit. I started with Mr. Carter my 8th grade year of middle school, and he has really helped me. I tried to stray away from music. I did. I ain't even gonna lie. Didn't want to do it no more. Mr. Carter was like, no, where are you going? That's not happening. He had me up on this stage singing again where I thought I wasn't gonna do it no more. But he sure enough made me do it. And certain people you cannot tell no to. Between him and Miss Clark, I couldn't say no. Because I was either going to get a beating by them, or I was going to go home and get a beating. So we would like to, I mostly want to thank Mr. Carter for spending his time with Gospel Choir. He did not have to. A lot of people, you do not have to do what you do, but people do it. So I would like to thank Mr. Carter and present him with the 2018 Trailblazer Award.
Thank you, sir. Alrighty. Thank you. Let's give it up for the band over there. I'm usually somewhere over there in the corner behind the curtain. I'm gonna fight Miss Clark sometime later on. I'm usually hiding behind the curtain, behind the scenes. I'm not gonna keep you long. I want to say thank you to the staff. Wow, it's really dark out there. Thank you to the staff, the administration, for even just having this event. I've seen this event grow over the years and grow and gets better and better and better every year. And you should actually give yourselves a round of applause to the students, faculty, staff, Ms. Clark, everybody. I've really see it come together and grow, and it's a great thing for the community. And I just want to say I'm very thankful and I'm humbled to even be thought about for this award. And I'm not going to keep you long. I'm just leave you with these two things, and I'll take my seat. As we know, Black history is very important. Some people probably, side note, some people have probably never seen me in front of a mic before. So cherish this moment. So I'll make do. Black history is very important to us, and to this country. African Americans have made a huge contribution over the years to the success of this country. And I just want to leave two quotes from two famous authors that I like, that I'm into. First one is Dr. John Henrik Clarke, and he said, "To control a people, you must first control what they think about themselves and how they regard their history and culture. And when your conqueror makes you ashamed of your culture and your history, he needs no prison walls and no chains to hold you." Very important quote. I love that one. And the last one I want to leave you with is from Malcolm X. "There's no better than adversity. Every defeat, every heartbreak, every loss contains its own seed, its own lesson on how to improve your performance the next time." I say all that to say for the students, learn your history. Don't just leave it to what you learn here, even at the school. Take it a little further, pick up a book. Put the phone down sometimes and actually talk to the people in your community. It's funny that as I was sitting there thinking, I had a little speech and I just kind of dropped it for time. But I was sitting there, I was thinking about just the local people and the trailblazers they even mentioned here tonight and how they've even influenced me. We got John Williams over there, who he's probably going to fight me for mentioning his name. But I've known John since I was almost in high school, I believe. Miss Sibley, although I don't know her personally, though I've met her a few times doing the Black History Month celebrations here at school. Mrs. King, I've done a few events for the debutantes with the Renaissance Jazz Band. Shameless plug there, Renaissance Jazz Band. So it's like these trailblazers all around, or people are all around, and sometimes you look to, we mentioned these big names like Malcolm X and John Henry Clark, as I mentioned here, or Dr. King. But you have people right in here in your community who are trailblazers, who you need to look up to and need to remember. And that's why I'm really humbled, and I am accepting this award, and I'm just humbled by it. And thank you.
We give another round of applause for Mr. Carter, please. We don't know if we could ever fully thank Mr. Carter for everything he's done for our media community. But to express our gratitude, tonight we have the LHS Combined Choirs. They're here to perform one of his favorite songs, Total Praise by Richard Smallwood. And we have, conducting our Combined Choirs, our host tonight, Johnny Bryant. So give a round of applause.
Although our celebration is coming to an end, we have included a small part that is not in your pamphlets and this person does not know about. We have a very special something for a special someone. This woman has been a part of our family for the past 12 years and has been in education for 29, serving as a teacher, a coach, a supervisor, assistant superintendent, and superintendent. She is a strong female educational leader who serves on many education-related committees, is an active member of multitude of education-centered associations, and is frequently sought out to present at local, state, national, or international conferences. As the first African-American superintendent at Lawrence Township Public Schools, she is a role model. She is a role model to the whole community. Personally, for me, for the past 3 years, this individual has been with me at Rider College for Day of Dialogue. To me, she has always listened and was there if I ever need throughout her busy schedule. So I personally want to thank you very much for that. So on behalf of myself and the Lawrence High School Black History Celebration, I would like to thank this individual for everything she has done throughout her educational career here at Lawrence Township. She will surely be missed as she retires to Virginia for her new adventures in education. It is my honor to thank you, Dr. Crystal Edwards, for everything you have done for Lawrence Township Public Schools.
I just said that it's not often that I cry, but Zulima just made me cry. It is dark up here. I just want to thank all of you for coming out tonight and just witnessing what I already know, that my staff and my students are just awesome. I'm just so blessed to work here and to work with these wonderful people and these wonderful young people. And often, you know, when I go into elementary schools, they say, well, what does a superintendent do? Because not many people know what a superintendent does. And I say, you know, one of my biggest jobs is to make sure that the people who are in the schools are caring, are loving, they go above and beyond and do what's necessary to keep our children feeling safe, loved, and make this a warm environment. And if you're here tonight, you know that to be true just by everything that you've experienced here at Lawrence High School tonight. And it's so funny, I have a funny story to tell about Jametta. I can remember when we were first interviewing her and we were about to hire her, and I asked her, what's one thing that you would like to bring to our school that's not here? What's a gift or a talent that you would bring? And she said, I'd like to start a gospel choir. And I said, I'd like to see that happen. And we are so blessed to have the magical talent that she has brought here. So I'm so thankful for that. I'm thankful to Mrs. Clark. And to my high school team, you guys are amazing because, you know, there aren't many high schools that would allow this kind of celebration to go on, and mine does because I have an amazing high school team, and amazing supportive parents and Board of Education. So for this, thank you so much, and continue to enjoy what I already know is our blessing is sitting right in this room among us. We are making history right now with the young people that we have today, doing it right now, every day, using every breath they have. So thank you.
Wow, I can't see a thing. Unbelievable. Hi, my name's Dan Wolf, and I'm the advisor for the Arts and Humanities Academy. It is our pleasure to help out Miss Clark each year in putting together this great event. I want to personally thank each and every one for making tonight a success. A matter of fact, give yourself some applause. Tonight would not be possible without the tireless work ethic and vision from my colleague and friend, Ms. Clark. Ms. Clark, wherever you're at, will you please come on the stage? Can you please put your hands together one more time for the hostess with the mostest, Mrs. Clark? I also want to thank the Black History Committee because they worked so hard to make tonight a success. So could you please give them a round of applause? The Arts and Humanities Academy would like to present you with a gift, Mrs. Clark. Speech. Speech.
So this happens every year. I say I'm going to write a speech, and then I show up and I don't have a speech. So, but from my heart, I want to first say to my friend and my colleague, Mr. Wolf, thank you so much. Even sometimes when you may not have really known where I was trying to go with my plans, you supported all of my plans, so I thank you for that. And I thank all of my colleagues that assisted, helped out, volunteered in any way that you gave of yourself and your time. I really appreciate that, and I thank you for that. And I would love to also thank our administrative team. It's not often that we have an administrative team that is so eager and willing to help. And they have been nothing but the best. They have helped, they have asked, how many ways can they help me? And I want to say personally to you all, thank you so much. First of all, for supporting an event of this magnitude and for offering and giving of yourselves and your time, because you did not have to do it, but you did, and I am grateful for that. And last but definitely not least, I joke around sometimes. Those that know me know that I am a daddy's girl. My mother is no longer with me, so my dad is the world to me. So he walks me, we joke about it a lot, he walks me to school every morning because I talk to him on the phone every morning because he's in Alabama. So if I don't call him, I get a phone call en route to school and we talk, and he always asks, well, how are your babies? And I have no children biologically, but I do have babies. And they're on the stage tonight, and I'm so proud of my children because for the first time, I was able to stay out of the booth, remain in the audience, even though I had a hard time sitting down. But they did an awesome job from planning to execution. I am so proud of all of you. You did an outstanding job. To all of the honorees, congratulations. Many of you I know, some I did not know as well. The students also had a hand in selecting our honorees, and I am happy that we have chosen the 4 that we chose because you are amazing individuals. Just reading your bios was amazing within itself and inspiring to not just me, but to many of the children that you see on the stage. Sometimes, as our guest speaker said, it's not always about the big names and the lights that we hear about or that we see. It's about those unsung heroes that are behind the scenes making a difference. Sometimes we do need to give them their accolades. Sometimes we do need to pat them on the back and say thank you. So tonight, we hope that you felt the love from Lawrence High School, and we say again to you, congratulations. Thank you all so much. So before we leave, with the climate in our country being as it is sometimes, I think it is necessary that we remember that we are one. We should be united. And that together, not apart, not separate, but together, we shall overcome. No matter what the situation is, no matter what obstacles we may face, if we rise above them together, we shall overcome. So please join me in singing, "We Shall Overcome." We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. Thank you and good night.